Hello, everybody. I am Luciana and I am gay. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about how we can learn to accept our sexuality. And that may be whatever it is for you, your preference, your identity, even how you physically feel in your body. So, before we get into the video, I want to invite you to do a little bit of an exercise with me. I want you to take a moment to remember the last time that you got very angry and very upset. It maybe was recently, maybe you were driving and somebody cut you off, maybe it was something that happened with somebody at work or a personal relationship, but just remember that moment when something happened and you got so angry. And I want you to ask yourself, did you consciously choose to get angry? Just think about it. Did you consciously choose to get angry? Did you take a moment and said, you know what? I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get angry about this person cutting me off. Or did the anger just came up and it happened? Okay, I want you to hold that answer. And let's continue with the video because we're going to come back to this. So the video is about accepting our sexuality. No, it's very difficult sometimes to talk about this because for a lot of people, just the word sexuality moves a lot of emotions and awakens a lot of things within. It's something that we're taught not to talk too much about, to keep just to yourself, to not always show that part of us. So it may move a lot of emotions within you. But when you've come to a place in your life where you kind of discover who you are when it comes to your sexuality, to your identity, and you feel that you have a difficulty accepting it, it's usually because we are waiting for other people to accept us before we accept ourselves. So in this video, I want to share with you 2 things that you can begin to do to start that process of embracing and accepting your sexuality and accepting yourself for who you are, because it's a beautiful thing. And I have no doubt that you can do it. But keyword from that phrase that I just said, it's a process. So there's no magic, pill that you take and boom, it's all gone. But there are so many things that you can do that can make the whole process easier. So number 1, we need to release the need for other people to approve of us. It is very easy to want, of course, your family members, your parents, your friends to accept you. The thing is that sometimes if we have a hard time accepting ourselves, of course, it may come as a shock for them. So we cannot expect or assume that other people will accept us. We have to take 100% responsibility for accepting ourselves and embracing what that makes us feel. Releasing that need for others to accept us and just welcoming it when it does happen. And I know that this can be very difficult. We start that process, and I've seen it time and time again. I personally experienced it myself. The more you accept yourself, the more comfortable you are in your skin, the more naturally people accept you. So the second thing that we have to do is, like I said, embrace how we feel. So when it comes to our sexuality, normally, as we're in that process of accepting it, maybe you recently came down to it with yourself and said, you know what, I am gay, I am a lesbian, I am transgender, or whatever it is for you, whatever you identify with, or whatever your sexuality is for you, maybe you just recently accepted. But maybe some of you have been in a journey of acceptance for many, 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 many years. Maybe you're already even out as being gay, but you still haven't accepted it within. Or maybe you've told nobody. Whatever the situation, the cool thing is that this process starts with you. Right now, it's not about telling anybody or getting out there or having to pretend or show or prove anything. We begin by asking ourselves, how does accepting that I am gay or my sexuality, how does accepting my sexuality make me feel? What is my natural reaction? Do I feel afraid? I feel so afraid that I kind of don't want to tell anybody and I just stop, pretend that nothing's happening, and this fear takes over me. Even just the thought of people knowing awakens this deep fear. So take a moment, take a deep breath, and just contemplate. Do you feel afraid when you think of accepting your sexuality? And if you do, allow yourself to feel it for a second there. There's nothing wrong with embracing your emotions. The more you suppress them, the more you deny them, the harder it is to move through them and be able to release them. So if there is fear, just take a deep breath and feel the fear. You know, a cool trick that I do when I really want to connect and connect with my emotions and feel is I put my hand either on my chest, if I'm feeling the strong emotion on my chest, or on my abdomen. There is something about the physical touch in my body that helps me feel more safe and comfortable feeling. So that's just a little trick if you want to try it. Now, maybe for some of you, the thought of accepting and embracing your sexuality awakens a big wave of shame. Ooh, you feel very ashamed. You feel like you want to hide. You don't want anybody to know. You just feel so embarrassed and so ashamed. So take a moment, take a deep breath. If you feel that your sexuality or accepting it awakens this shame, this need of hiding, another way of denying that this is happening. If this is the case for you, breathe and feel. Now, for other of us, what we may feel is like our pride awakens. You know, there's the good kind of pride when you accomplish something amazing in your life. That's good. But here we're talking about those prideful moments where we feel the need to defend who we are and defend ourselves. So this is where somebody may casually talk about somebody else being gay and you're like, oh, you have this huge reaction, or you think they're talking about you and you begin to defend yourself, or you may even say how being gay is a horrible thing, or something just to try to protect yourself by fighting and by defending yourself to keep that information or that truth protected. So if this is the case for you, take a deep breath and just accept. Here, we're not even accepting sexuality, we're accepting emotions. Accept, yeah. Sometimes I fight. Sometimes I try to defend myself because I don't want anybody to know what I'm experiencing inside. Good. So those are the first 3 emotions that we need to find peace with. We need to accept, which will make the whole process easier in the future when it comes to dealing with others and their emotions and how they feel about who we are. We first have to accept it in ourselves. And it starts as simple as that. Recognizing, do I feel afraid? Do I feel ashamed? Or do I feel prideful? And not fighting it, and not pretending it's not there, and not trying to make a story in our mind to deny it. Just feeling and surrendering to that emotion. I can personally tell you that this can transform the way you deal with this situation. And especially because remember, we're at the beginning of the video. I asked you to take a moment to remember the last time that you got upset, that you got angry, and to ask yourself, did you consciously choose to get angry? The answer for most of us is no. We don't consciously choose to explode in anger when somebody cuts us off in the freeway. But this means that we all carry a strength, like emotional strength within us that sometimes just comes up. Maybe you're not even consciously right now choosing to feel afraid or ashamed or prideful about you accepting your sexuality. What this teaches us is that if we don't first begin this process with accepting that within ourselves, any time that you tell a family member or a friend that you're gay, guess what happens? Or that whatever your sexuality or whatever you identify with is, guess what happens within them? A wave of emotions come up that a lot of the time they're not even choosing either. It's not a conscious choice. They have a choice, we all do, of how we react and we respond. That we do, and it is our responsibility to be kind, to be compassionate. But we don't choose. that first reaction. So if sometimes somebody hears that, a mother hears that her son is gay, and she feels a deep sadness, and she feels brokenhearted, not because there's anything wrong with the son, but because some of her expectations and her dreams are shattered. The only thing that I invite you to do is to simply love them and accept them as they are, even if it has to be from a distance. Be that example that if somebody yet does not know how to work and deal with their emotions, you can offer that space for them to do that. Never allowing any abuse, never allowing yourself to be, mistreated. But sometimes the journey is to allow others to live the process that they need. And that's very common for a lot of family members. Sometimes they just need time. And while they're taking that time, you continue to work on how you feel, because that's the only thing that you truly have power over. So I want to challenge you and invite you to do something. And maybe within the next couple of weeks, take a moment every single day to sit with whichever one of these emotions came up strongly with you. And it's simple, nothing crazy. Just sit down, take some deep breaths into that fear, into that shame, into that pride. Put your hand on your body if that helps you, and just be there with the emotions. It's so amazing what happens when we sit with our emotions. They begin to lose some of that power. Then it becomes easier to deal with them. And then we can go a little deeper in the process, because there's going to be a part 2 for this video where after you practice what we learned today, you can go a little deeper and work on that. But yeah, I want to tell you that you are amazing, exactly as you are. And if you do feel that you're struggling, if you need support, if you need help, know that I am here for you. You can reach out to me on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. This is something that when we go through it together as a community, it strengthens us. So yes, this is all that I had for you guys today. I hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.